everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am freezing. If you know me personally, I'm always cold. It's like 68 degrees in my house right now. It was really cold out yesterday here in Indiana. It's warming up again today, so thank God, because I am so cold. But sorry, I'm trying to move this closer. I have it propped up on my table. So I said in my last couple videos, sorry, my cat is like inspecting my iPad. So I said in my last couple videos, I was going to do my daughter's birth story. I'm about 6 years too late, but that's okay. I still want to talk about it because it was such an experience. And yeah, it's just, I love telling her story. It's one of the worst but best things I've ever gone through in my life. And it's a miracle that she's here. If you guys don't know, she is a rainbow baby. She was born after 2 miscarriages, and currently my only child. I have had 7 miscarriages now. If you followed me, I just had one this week. So if I seem okay, I'm processing. 7 miscarriages is a lot to have, and I have emotions towards it, but right now I'm trying to be okay. So anyways, so her birth story. Let's take it all the way back to when I got pregnant with her. So in 2012, I got pregnant this month in 2012. I miscarried July 20th, 2012, and I got pregnant with Emmie between August 2nd and August 4th of 2012. So I literally got pregnant with her 2 weeks after my D&C for my second miscarriage. She is a true miracle. I didn't even know you could get pregnant that soon after a miscarriage, so it was quite a shock because I found out in September 2012 that I was pregnant with her. It was a healthy pregnancy. Everything was great. I had no issues with her, which it's crazy. But yeah, I got pregnant with her in August 2012. My due date for her was May 8th, 2013. When I was 38 or 39 weeks pregnant with her, I had gone into labor and delivery because I thought my amniotic sac was leaking. I don't even know. I was in and out of labor and delivery because any pain I had, I was paranoid. I was just really scared of losing her. So I had gone into labor and delivery, and sorry, she is sucking on my blanket and I don't like it. But I had gone into labor and delivery, and I don't even remember how long I was there, but I actually passed out in labor and delivery. They believe she was sitting on like some type of artery or something that caused me to pass out. Again, I was 38, 39 weeks, and I gave birth at an Army hospital. If you have given birth there and you had a great experience, good for you. I did not. I had a terrible experience there. But they're not big on inducing before 40 weeks. Before 41 weeks, they're not big on inducing. So they would not induce me. I was not dilating at all. I was barely even effaced. So at 40 weeks, I don't think I had an appointment at 40 weeks. Maybe it was 40 weeks and then I had an appointment again at 40 weeks, 5 days. At 40 weeks, 5 days, I still had not progressed. I was 0 centimeters dilated. 0. I was nothing. So they're like, okay, well at this point, we do feel good with going ahead and inducing you to get this baby out. because I was 2 days away from being 41 weeks pregnant, and guys, I was over it. I was in pain. I stand 4 feet 11. I am tiny. I'm short. I'm little, and I was huge. I will include pictures too with this video. So I was big. I had gained at least 45 pounds with her. So at 40 weeks, 5 days, it was 40 weeks, 40 weeks, 5 days. Something like that. It was May 14th was my last doctor's appointment. They said, all right, we're going to go ahead and induce you. Call the hospital tomorrow at 6 a.m. and see if we have a bed for you. So I call on May 15th. They do not have a bed at 6 a.m. They say, call back, or we'll call you back in a little bit. So like 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., they call me, say, hey, be up here at 11 a.m. We have a bed for you. So at 11 a.m., I go into the hospital. I wasn't really sure what to expect because this is my first child and I had never been induced before. And they really didn't explain a whole lot to me. I was going in blind. Within 20 minutes of being at the hospital, I passed out again. So I was hooked up to oxygen. I don't know why I passed out. I have no idea. But twice I passed out, and it's crazy because I was at the hospital both times I passed out. Crazy. So the first thing they did, they put a pill up into my cervix to dilate me. They did not do the balloon or the hook or anything like that to break my water. So they put the pill up in my cervix to help dilate me. And they did give me a little bit of medication to relax and kind of sleep a little bit. Between 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., I don't remember a whole lot. I think I was asleep for most of that. I woke up around 5 p.m. to my water breaking. And if you have never had your water break on its own, it's disgusting. Yeah, that pill helped dilate me so they didn't have to break my water for me. It's nasty. It's like a waterfall coming out, and it is warm and disgusting. I've never felt anything like it in my life, and I knew it wasn't pee because it was like a big gush. So I woke up to that. We got me all changed, my bedding all changed and all that. And this is 5 p.m. on May 15th. My water broke. I was 5 centimeters dilated. I was like, all right, great. Like, this is moving perfectly. Like, I'm going to have her today. Well, we'll get to that. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, when can I get my epidural? And the nurse is like, you see that smile on your face? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, when that's gone. So at like 6 centimeters dilated, I went ahead, I got my epidural, part of my epidural. I don't believe they give you a full dose of epidural. I don't even know how it works. It comes in parts or something. At least mine did. So I got a little bit of my epidural. And I was in pain, guys. My epidural, I don't know if they placed it wrong or what, but this thing did not work. The only thing it did is it numbed my legs. That is it. I felt every contraction. I felt all of it. But by the middle of the night, I don't even know, it was between 12 a.m. and like 3 a.m. I was only 6 centimeters dilated still. And at this point, I had been in the hospital for over 12 hours. My water had been broke for several hours and I was not making progress. And when I tell you I was in pain, I was screaming and crying. My contractions were so close together. Like, they were bam, 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 bam. Like, they were super close together. And when you are at an Army hospital, at least the one I was at, I cannot say this for all of them because all of them may not be like this, but the one I was in, you saw so many different OBGYNs. I saw like 5 or 6 throughout my entire pregnancy. When I came into the hospital, I had one doctor who was there on call. And then in the middle of the night, I had a doctor, and I swear to God to this day, if I ever saw him again, I would punch him and kick him where the sun doesn't shine. So I had a doctor on call in the middle of the night. He was from family medicine. So he wasn't even like an OBGYN that I had ever seen before. I'd never seen this guy in my life. And I just remember begging and begging and begging for a C-section. Like, get this baby out now. Like, I am in so much pain. Like, I just don't even care anymore. And at this point, they had given me more of my epidural, and it still was not working. My contractions were like all in my sides, all in my hips, all in my back. And I think it just magnified it more. Like, it was bad. And this doctor, I kid you not, tells me, well, you know that scar lasts forever, right? Ask me, do I care? Do I care if I have a scar? I give 0 shits if I have a scar. I don't care. Like, I really don't. Like, get this baby out. I'm done. Like, you're an idiot. Well, yeah, he got a big complaint about that from me with the hospital. So fast forward to like 6, 7 a.m. A new doctor comes in, and I believe this is the doctor that delivered my baby. Yes, it was. She came in, and she's like asking me how I'm doing and all of this. Guys, I'm still at a 6 centimeters. Almost 24 hours later, I'm still at 6. I'm not progressing. And she asked me, have you had Pitocin? No, I haven't. I've been here for almost 24 hours. They have not given me Pitocin to help my contractions, help dilate me. So she is pissed because I've been sitting here all night at 6 centimeters and they still haven't given me Pitocin. And Pitocin, if you don't know what that is, it's chemically induced contractions. They're horrible. Pitocin is horrible. Don't ever do it if you don't have to. And if you do have to, I hope your epidural works. So they give me Pitocin finally between 7 and 9, I want to say, and it really gets things going. So I start dilating more, and again, I have tapped out on my epidural. No more epidural, I'm done. So the anesthesiologist is like trying to give me other medications that he knows he can give me to help with the pain. I tap out on every single medication I can take. Nothing is touching this pain. So basically, I'm doing natural birth because nothing is working. And the Pitocin just made it like 100 times worse. So about 4 p.m., I'm just now at 8 centimeters dilated. I've been over here for over 30 hours. I'm only at 8 centimeters. So the doctor's like, all right, well, let's go ahead and try to push. Let's see if we can't push you to those next 2 centimeters so you can start delivering this baby. I refused. Flat out, I was done. I'm so tired. I'm sure I was hungry, but I was in so much pain that I didn't even have time to think about food. Like, I was just hurting so bad, and I was so tired. I hadn't hardly gotten any sleep because of how much pain I was in. So I refused at first, and finally my ex-husband and my mom were like, no, just try it, try to push, it might help. We gotta get this baby out. So I'm like, all right, fine, I will try pushing. So I pushed for about an hour, and I mean, she is not budging. She does not want to come out. She's comfy, she's cozy, she's in her safe space. So the doctor's finally, like, after an hour, she's like, all right, you're still at 8 centimeters dilated. We have to take you in for a C-section now. Like, you have no choice. This is happening. So I'm getting goosebumps. So they start prepping me for C-section. They take me back. They get me all ready. And then they bring in her dad, because I could only have one person in there with me. And, of course, I want him to witness the birth of his child. We're still married at this time. So he comes in, and they start, cutting at my stomach, and Um, it all went by, I feel like it went by so fast. It was like 5 p.m. when I went into the operating room. And, oh God, I'm gonna cry. So finally at 5:19, I could just feel, because they had to take my epidural out first. They had to take my epidural out. They had to give me a spinal because I obviously could feel everything. So they gave me a spinal, and that spinal was amazing. I did not feel anything anymore. It was great. So as they're pulling her out, my blood pressure bottoms. Like, it down, way down. So they have to give me medication to get my blood pressure back up because for some reason I didn't react correctly. So they got that back up, and I could just feel like it was like somebody was sitting on my chest when they pulled her out. It was so much pressure. So they pull her out, and she goes, "No wonder why she didn't want to come out." And I'm like, what's wrong with my child? Like, why would you say something like that? Like, why is that the first thing that came out of your mouth? And then I hear her crying. So at that point, I know she is on here. She is alive, and she is healthy. I have a baby. Like, at that point in time, if you have never witnessed the birth, if you've never had a child, I'm telling you right now, the first time you hear them cry, your emotions just like take over you. Like, it's uncontrollable. Like, you feel all the things. So I'm crying because I hear her crying. And I've waited so long to meet her. So she's like, "Well, do you want to guess how much she weighs?" I'm like, "I don't know, 7 pounds?" She's like, "Nope, keep guessing." I'm like, "Higher?" She's like, "Oh yeah." I was like, 7.5, and she's like, "Nope, keep guessing." And me and my ex-husband are just like, 8? She's like, "We're gonna guess 8.5 pounds." And we're just sitting there like, there's no way. There is no way I carried an 8.5 pound baby. Like, I was huge, but they had always told me my belly was measuring 2 weeks behind my due date. And so I'm just like, oh my God, like, there's just no way. So they bring her over to us, and I'll insert pictures. And she is literally the most, Jesus. She's the most beautiful baby I've ever seen in my life. And all parents are biased. We're all going to say this, but I had never seen something so beautiful in my life. And she had these big eyes and these fat cheeks, and it was just love at first sight. I could not have been more happy. So they get me all stapled back up, put together, and they take me back in my room. And at this point, I had only seen her. I was not able to hold her yet, and I was really, to this day, I'm still pretty angry. I was the last person to hold my child after she was born. I had my mother there, I had my brother, I had his grandmother, and I had his grandfather there. I was the last person to get to hold my child when she was born. Nobody waited until I got to hold her first before they held her. So, I get back into the room, and I'm still all kind of drugged up and everything, and, I get to hold her, and, we had already decided her name. It was going to be Emmie Jo Marie. The middle name is my mom's middle name and his mom's middle name, so we just kind of threw them together. But when I got back there, they told me that she was 8 pounds, 13 ounces, 19.25 inches long. So she was huge, guys. Like, she was so close to being a 9-pound baby. But her dad, when he was born, he was like, I think he was like over 11 pounds. So it made sense, I guess. And I was only 5'4" when I was born. So I was born 3 weeks early, and I was tiny. So I guess I don't really think that's an average weight. Like, she was huge. But yeah, I got to hold her and, spend a little time with her. That first night was rough, I'm not gonna lie. that first night in the hospital, I was in so much pain after like the medications wore off, because the only thing they gave me for pain was ibuprofen. They didn't give me anything else for pain. And I had chose not to breastfeed because I was so exhausted and in so much pain, I couldn't do it. So we chose to bottle feed her. And that night was rough. She was up all night crying and scream. Well, maybe it wasn't the first night. I think the first night was okay. It was the second night. The second night was really rough. She was up all night crying and screaming. We could not get her to calm down. And they had switched her formula twice. Because the first formula they figured was upsetting her stomach, so they switched her to something else, and that still wasn't working. So on the third day when we went home, the first night we were home was the hardest night I've ever had with her. Again, all night long, screaming and crying, and my mom is exhausted, my brother is exhausted, he is exhausted, I'm exhausted, but I stayed up all night long with her. Mind you, I have staples in my stomach. It is very, very hard for me to get up out of bed and get a baby. So all night long, I was up, she was up. The only time she was quiet is if I had her on my chest. And I couldn't even lay down because I had staples in my stomach, so I was like propped up all night with a baby on my chest. So at her 48-hour appointment of being home or whatever, it was the next day, we go to her pediatrician and we're explaining what's happening, and she's like, well, I think it's the formula. I think the formula is hurting her stomach. And when she walks out of the room, I just break down in tears. I am crying because I felt like it was something I had done wrong. Obviously, it's not anything I did. It was the formula. Her stomach just could not handle regular formula. So we had to switch to yet a third formula. And thankfully, this formula worked wonders with her. It actually helped her a lot. But the whole week that she was, like, I was waiting to go in the hospital, and then after having her, it's like some parts are just so still fresh in my mind, and some parts I'm like, I don't even remember the whole day. I just remember, like, for the first week of her life, it was really hard for me to hold her just because my breast milk was drying up and I still had my C-section scar, and I think after 72 hours I had my staples removed, so it was a little bit better. I actually bounced back pretty fast from my C-section, better than most people do. I mean, I didn't have any complications with it. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I didn't just lay around and do nothing, because if you're laying around and doing nothing after you've had a C-section, you're not going to heal properly. You're not going to heal as fast. You need to be up and doing minimal things that you can do, so that way your body is trying to heal. So I healed pretty fast with my C-section, which was great because it was rough. It's rough holding a baby when your incision is still healing. So yeah, that first week was kind of rough. It was hard to hold her. It was hard to do anything until I fully healed. I think I was pretty good after 2 weeks. My C-section scar was great after 2 weeks. And to this day, my C-section scar isn't very big. It's like that. And it's so low, even if I wear a bathing suit, you cannot see it. It's across, not up and down. Some use, I don't know if they even still do up and down C-section scars, but mine was not. It was across, and it's so tiny. You can't see it if I wear a bathing suit, so I really don't care that I have a scar there. That scar proves to me that I had a baby, and I'm a bad bitch, because I was cut open. I had more organs taken out to get her out. If anybody ever tells you C-section is the easy way out, please go lay down on a table and have one done, because it is not easy. Just because I did not have the privilege of shooting a baby out of my vagina does not mean I did not give birth. So, anybody who believes that, you can go somewhere. I've never actually had anybody say that to me. It's probably a good thing because I would probably come unglued. I have a temper when you make me mad. Because C-section is serious. It is a serious abdominal surgery. You can bleed out. You can die on the table. Like, you can die. Giving birth in itself is dangerous because you never know how somebody's body is going to react, whether you have a C-section or you have a vaginal birth. Either way, it is a dangerous and risky thing for a body to do. So no matter how you gave birth, you are a badass. I'm just saying, like, moms are badasses. That's just my opinion. I'd love to see a man go give birth to a baby. You know, I would love to see it just because they have no clue. But yeah, it was, when I say it was the worst but best experience of my life, I'm not lying. My birth experience, like, you had to have been there. It was horrible. Horrible. I will never give birth at this hospital again, ever in my life. Thank God my husband now is not in the military because I would go off post, not even lying. And I'm not going to say where I gave birth because I don't want to put them on there like that. But not a fan of this hospital. They suck. I'm sorry, but I had the worst experience there. And even after she was born, I just continued to have bad experiences with them. Not a fan of them. But the best part was meeting her. Like, because I had already had 2 miscarriages, I waited so long to meet this little baby, and I still can't believe it to this day that I have her, and she's 6. It's still crazy to me that I have a child. I have a 6-year-old daughter who I've managed to keep alive for 6 years. And I really hope I get to have this experience again. I would love to have another baby. I would love to experience birth again. As far as giving birth C-section or vaginal, I don't know. Probably C-section. Most times you do have another C-section. That's what I'm comfortable with. That, and if the baby is so big, I can't have it naturally anyways. So, I don't know. I can't say because I'm not, I'm not having a baby right now. So I can't say what I would do. But yeah, that is her birth story. And like I said, I will include photos with this video throughout the video, so that way you can see. It might have the name of the hospital in some of the photos, so I might have to black the name of the hospital out. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to get that out there. I wanted to do something different with this because I don't usually talk about her a whole lot. Because I want to keep her. You've probably seen her in some videos, but other than that, I just want to keep her kind of private. She's only 6 and there's a lot of weirdos out there, so you probably won't see her in a ton of my videos. That's just my preference. I just don't want to put her face out there on YouTube. She is on my Instagram and she has my Facebook, but I can kind of control who looks at my Facebook and who looks at my Instagram. So that's the difference. But yeah, if you want to share your birth story with me, I think it's pretty freaking cool to hear other people's birth stories because everybody is so different. But yeah, that's all I have for now. And I don't know when my next update will be. I don't know what my next video will be. So I'm going to work on it, and hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll have something new for you guys. I gotta try to not fall off my couch now, trying to turn this off.